Hello, my preschool friends, and now it's time for our story time for today. And today's story is A Chair for My Mother, written by Vera B. Williams. So listen along. I'm going to ask some questions as we read and see if you can answer them. Let's get started. A Chair for My Mother, written by Vera B. Williams. My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tile Diner. After school, sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job to do. I wash the salt and peppers and fill the ketchups. One time I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. When I finish, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time, I put half of my money into the jar. Have you ever gone to your grown-ups' business or place that they work? What's it like? Well, that's pretty cool. It takes a long time to fill up a jar this big. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mama empties all of her change from tips out of her purse for me to count. Then we push all the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired she falls asleep while I count the money out in piles. Some days she has lots of tips. Some days she only has a little. Then she looks worried. But each evening, every single shiny coin goes into the jar. Have you ever saved up money before? Maybe in a jar like this? How much did you have? Wow, you saved up a lot. Let's see if they do. We sit in the kitchen to count the tips. Usually Grandma sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often, she has money in her old leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain on tomatoes or bananas or something she buys, she puts by the savings and they go into the jar. What's Mama doing in here? Yeah, she works so hard, she's so tired. When we can't get a single other coin into the jar, we are going to take out all the money and go and buy a chair. Yes, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. We are going to get the best chair in the whole wide world. That is because our old chairs are burned up. There was a big fire in our other house. All of our chairs burned. So did our sofa, and so did everything else. That was such a long time ago. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals and she had new pumps. We were walking to our house from the bus. We were looking at everyone's tulips. She was saying she liked the red tulips and I was saying that I liked the yellow ones. Then we came to our block. What do you think they saw? Let's see. Oh no. Right outside our house stood two big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames came out of the roof. All the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My Uncle Sandy saw us and ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's Mother?" I yelled, "Where's my grandma?" And Aunt Ida waved and shouted, "She's here, she's here, she's okay, don't worry." Grandma was all right. Our cat was safe too, though it took a while to find her. But everything else in our whole house was spoiled and burnt. So what did they have to do that their house burned up? That's right, they had to move. And did they get all their old stuff back? No, it was all burnt like this. What was left of our house was turned to charcoal and ashes. We went to stay with my mother's sister, Aunt Ida, and Uncle Sandy. When we were able to move into the apartment downstairs, we painted the walls yellow. The floors were all shiny, but the rooms were very, very empty. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and cake and ice cream, and they brought all of the other things too. The family across the street brought a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were little. My other grandpa brought us a beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, brought pots and pans, silverware, and dishes. My cousin brought her own stuffed bear, and everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You are all the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very, very much. It's lucky we're young and can start all over." Look at all of the neighbors around and all the people that they knew brought stuff for their house, because what happened to everything else? Yeah, it got burned up in the fire. But what's something that they don't have? Yeah, they probably don't have that. That was last year, but we still have no sofa and no big chairs. When Mama comes home, her feet hurt. There is no good place for me to take the load off my feet, she says. When Grandma wants to sit back and hum and cut up potatoes, she has to get as comfortable as she can on the hard kitchen chair. So that is how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find at the diner, and all the coins started to go into the jar. Now, the jar's too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter. He had to boost me up so that I can put it in. So now their jar is full. What does that mean? They get to buy the big chair. Do you think they'll have enough? I sure hope so. After supper, Mama and Grandma stood in front of the jar. Well, I never would have believed it, but I guess it's full, Mama said. My mother brought home little paper wrappers for the nickels and dimes and the quarters. I counted them all out and wrapped them all up. On my mother's day off, we took all the coins to the bank. The bank exchanged them for $10 bills. Then we took the bus downtown to shop for our chair. We shopped through 4 furniture stores. We tried out big chairs and smaller ones, high chairs and low chairs, soft chairs and harder ones. Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks and the 3 bears trying out all of the chairs. Do you remember reading that story? I did. Which one of these chairs do you think they're going to buy? Well, let's find out. Finally, we found the chair we were all dreaming of, and the money in the jar was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy, and they came right down in their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. They knew we couldn't wait for it to be delivered. They picked the one with the roses on it. I tried out our chair in the back of the truck. Mama wouldn't let me sit there while we drove, because that'd be dangerous. But they let me sit in it while they carried it up to the door. We set the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Mama and Grandma and I sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from her work. After supper, I sit in it with her, and she can reach right up and turn out the lights as I fall asleep in her lap. The end. Thanks for listening. What was your favorite part of the story? My favorite part was when all the neighbors, after their house burned down before, they gave them all their old furniture and really tried to help them out. That is being so kind. So, I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in our next video, my friends. Goodbye for now.